coming on stage, the legendary director George Mahalka will be doing a little interview with Michael Biehn. They were both did that 24-hour rental TV show on Super Channel. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. Be sure you check it out. So without any further ado, I welcome to the stage George Mahalka and Michael Biehn.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, pretty good. Yeah. I don't know if we actually have a moderator or anything, but the way that these things usually go is basically it's just kind of a question and answer. So usually somebody asks me a question and I talk for about 45 minutes on that one question.
That's what I'll be there too.
You know,
I'm sure we got a few more questions in there.
Right. So if the floor is kind of open to any questions, and if we don't get any questions, we're just going to leave. So somebody should ask us the question. Don't be shy. Come on, somebody's got a question.
Well,
out of all the movies that what's that? Somebody with a mic will be out in a second. So
yeah. All right. So while we've got the questions going, I'll just ask a question for Michael, and the question is going to be, what made you decide to become such a great actor, or become an actor?
To become an actor.
Great happen later.
Well, that's very nice of you, George. The question was, well, if you didn't hear it, the question is what made me become an actor. And the thing is, when I was a kid, my parents used to have us in like sports and, just they kind of wanted to keep us off the streets, me and my brothers and sisters and so on and so forth. And so I used to go to do sports and this and that and karate and whatever. But I noticed that at the local theater, or what we call community theater, that's where all the pretty girls were. And from a very young age, I think I was about 12, I was interested in pretty girls. And I think more than any other reason, I was following pretty girls all through high school. I did some plays. College, I did a few plays. I didn't last long in college. And I moved out to LA where all the pretty girls were. And that more than anything else, I think made me decide to be an actor.
Well, that is inspiration. Any questions from the audience? We've got a microphone now, so we can actually hear you. Great. We can't hear you yet. Could you guys turn on the microphone for the audience?
No. He'll project.
Let's get that other microphone.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was just wondering if you're going to be in the new Alien project that's coming up.
Okay, here's the thing about aliens, and that is that basically everything that I'm going to tell you, you can find online. And that is that Neil Blomkamp put up some artwork, and it was me, Sigourney Weaver, and I think he didn't have nude at the time, but there's been artwork that's put up since. 20th Century Fox has announced that they're going to do another Aliens, that Neil Blomkamp, who directed District 9, is going to direct. And Sigourney is signed to do it, and Ridley Scott, who directed the first Alien, is signed to be the executive producer of it, and Fox has said it's a go project. Now, as far as me and Newt goes, I know that a lot of fans were disappointed that we died and we were not in the third one. I know I was disappointed. I know Jim Cameron was disappointed. I mean, Jim Cameron's whole movie really was about Sigourney Weaver saving this little girl, you know, through thick and thin, you know, aliens and all this sort of stuff. And I don't think he was real happy about the fact that they killed her off either. So all the fans, 25 years now, or whatever it's been, and I get asked repeatedly, why? I don't know. David Fincher directed the third one. I understand the script was a mess. He went on to do 7 and win an Academy Award for other films. He's a great director, but he had a bad script, so 3 was bad, 4 was bad, then they did Aliens versus Predator, and everybody was like, okay, we're done with this franchise. So I never thought they would do anything again with it. And I got a call from Neil, and I was in LA, and he was in Johannesburg, where he lives, and he asked me, he said, I want you in my movie, Chappie. And he said, would you mind putting yourself like on tape, camera, and you know, reading this little monologue for me, because I want to put you in my movie. I want you in my movie. Those were his words. I want you in my movie. Well, I'd seen District 9. I knew the guy was very talented. So I said, sure, you know, I want you in my movie. So I shot myself doing the scene, thought I did a really good job, and sent it off, and got back to it. I didn't get the part. I was like, well, fuck that, man. You know, I thought you wanted me in the movie, you know. It must have been a really bad, you know, audition, which I had complete control over, which I thought was very good. Well, it turns out he cast Sigourney Weaver in that role of the antagonist in Chappie. So if you've ever seen Chappie, you'll see that Sigourney Weaver played the role that I was asked to read for, actually, audition for, actually. I didn't think of it as an audition, but I did. I don't really audition that much anymore. But so he got Sigourney on the set, and he must have had a great pitch. And Sigourney Weaver agreed to it, and boom, now we got Alien 5. I don't know when they're going to make it, and I'm not supposed to say whether I'm in it or not, although Neil's got a bunch of pictures of me that he drew or had an artist draw, me and Newt, but I'm not supposed to say whether I'm in it or not. I've spoken to Neil on the phone, you know, but I'm not supposed to say whether I'm in it or not. You can draw your own conclusions from looking at the internet.
That's right. I'm supposed to kill him if he says any more. Any other questions? Okay. Young man in the red t-shirt.
Did you have any second thoughts when they asked you to be in the cast of Alien?
When you asked me, did I have any second thoughts about being an alien? Aliens?
Yeah, in being Alien.
Okay, I think that the question is, did I have any second thoughts? Here's the thing about aliens. First of all, I did Terminator. I was in the original Terminator, and I was the hero in Terminator. So I thank them. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I had worked with the director, Jim Cameron, and when he made Aliens, I was disappointed that he didn't, you know, offer me a role in it, because I thought I'd done such a good job for him in the Terminator. So I was not cast in that movie. But the actor who was going to play Hicks, he and Jim didn't get along. There were some problems that he had over there. So they let him go. I was in Los Angeles, and I got a call on a Friday evening from Gail Hurd, who produced the Terminator, Aliens, and the Abyss. And she said, Michael, is your passport in order? I said, yes. And she said, you want to play Hicks? And of course I wanted to play Hicks, and the reason I wanted to do it, it's a good question, like, do you want to play that role, don't you want to play that role? Because actors always have to look at the material and decide, is this going to be good, is this not going to be good? You know, George is a director of how many television shows, how many different shows have you done? about making a movie is the script, you know? And the director. I had a great agent who once said, either have a great script or a great director. One or the other. Both are bad, don't do it, or whatever. But the script was like incredible. Jim Cameron, who I just done the Terminator for, he was a rising star. And he gave me a chance to work with Bill Paxton, who I had worked with before. And so there was no hesitation. I leapt, you know, into that filming. And I always mention this, that the only problem with taking over that role was they had already shot a sequence or two with the other actor. And all the actors, those plates, those armored plates that all the actors wore, the director, Jim Cameron, said, go ahead and, you know, write whatever you want on it. Do a little artwork, or, you know, write it. And you'll notice all the actors, they did their own artwork. And the actor who they replaced put a little heart right here with the arrow going through it, and it was like bright red or bright pink or something, you know. And I said, do I have to wear this, Jim? You know? And he said, like, why? And I said, because that fucking looks like a bullseye to me, you know. And he said, well, we've already shot some stuff, so I ended up wearing it. So, yes, I wanted very badly to be in that movie. And when they asked me, I jumped very quickly. And then I went on to make another movie with Jim Cameron called The Abyss. And then Jim went on to make Titanic, True Lies, and Avatar, of course. And he's a brilliant guy, and for me, a lot of fun to work with.
All right, anybody else? Yes. Hang on a second. Oh, this gentleman there, and then we're going to come over here, okay?
What was the movie you had the most fun filming?
The movie I had the most fun filming, well, Aliens was a lot of fun because we were over in London, and we were living in Chelsea, which is kind of like the Beverly Hills of London, and the dollar was twice as strong as the pound. I mean, we were very young, and we had a really, really good time making that movie on and off the set. The sets were incredible. The anticipation that it might be a really good movie, because Jim had done such a good job with Terminator, was very, very high. And it was just a lot of fun. It was just, you know, putting on all that gear and that equipment and fighting aliens. I mean, it's like when you're 10 years old, you know, and you're out in the backyard with your brothers playing, you know, Army. You know, it's the same thing. It's fun. I mean, you know, it's fun to shoot guns. You know, I'm not a big gun advocate, but it's fun to shoot guns, and it's fun to kill aliens. So I had a good time, and on and off the set, I had a great time. I made some very good friends. They were shooting Full Metal Jacket at the same time. Stanley Kubrick shot Full Metal Jacket. To give you a little perspective on Stanley Kubrick, when we started shooting Aliens, they had already been shooting Full Metal Jacket for a month or two. And we shot Aliens. Aliens came back, got edited, music, and came out in theaters, and they were still shooting Full Metal Jacket. So that's how hard that guy worked, and how long that movie. Matthew Modine, I've heard, conceived and had a child on that movie.
Okay, we had a question over here, I think. Yes.
Hi. Well, first of all, let me tell you that when Terminator first came out, I was born in Colombia, and I watched the movie in Colombia. And I never, ever, ever thought I would be this close to you. So when I heard that you were going to be here, I lived in Windsor, I was like, I have to get myself to London. I just have to go, because this is like, oh my God. So, yeah, this is awesome. And my question is, how did you feel about Acton Yelchin playing you, or Kyle Reese in Terminator Salvation, as a younger Kyle Reese?
Well, listen, the thing about the Terminator, the thing about Aliens, is that, you know, the very first two Terminators were made by Jim Cameron, okay? Ridley Scott made the first Alien. Jim Cameron made the second Alien. But people just hear Terminator and they think, oh, Terminator is going to be this great movie because, you know, the other ones were. And they're not, you know, because they're not Ridley Scott and they're not Jim Cameron, you know. So, you know, another thing is, I was talking to one of the kids that came up to my table, is that I am sure, I know that kid worked very hard to kind of replicate me, I'd heard, but I had a great role, you know. An actor knows that's what's most important, is when you have a great role. When I got sent the script for Tombstone, my agent gave it to me and they said, you know, they're casting this, is there any role you want to play in this? And I read through it and I said, yeah, I want to play Doc Holliday. And kind of got back to me, well, it looks like that might be going to Val Kilmer, you know, but any other role you want to play? And I said, yeah, I think I'll play Johnny Ringo. Can I play Johnny Ringo? Will they let me play him? And they said, yeah. So you know the good roles when you have it. And that role in the Terminator, who was this like lean, mean, fighting machine, tough as nails, you know, urgent, you know, can't think of the word, passionate, you know, about her, but also in love with her, you know, but also in love with her, you know. He wanted to save her, and, you know, but he was in love with her. So the chance to play this lean, mean fighting machine, and also this guy who was hopelessly in love, was a great role. And I'm sure that he did not have as good a role on paper that I did, or any of the rest of them since. So, and I've never seen any of them, so I haven't seen any of the Aliens or any of the Terminators after the ones that I was in.
We all know you bring magic to every role, Michael.
Oh, that's really nice.
Anybody else? Yes. We got one over there, and then this gentleman over here right after. The mic close to your mouth.
Hello. I want to say that I wonder.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
It's all right. We all get it. I get it. All the time.
It's called stage fright, dude. It happens to me all the time.
I know. I watched them.
This young gentleman asked me what it was like to work with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Cameron. And first of all, a lot of people ask me about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the thing about Arnold is that I didn't really work with him that much, you know? We didn't really have any scenes together, per se. We worked the same night in Tech Noir, which is the nightclub, but we don't talk or anything, so it's not like the actors getting together saying how we're going to play this scene. And the only time that Arnold and I are on I think, if you watch the movie, the only time that we're in the same frame is when he jumps on top of the car and bashes his hand through the window. I just saw this for the first time a couple of months ago. There is a brilliant 5-part series on the making of the Terminator on YouTube. Each part's about 45 minutes long. And I'm in it, and Gail Hurd's in it, and I think Linda and Jim, Linda does very little. She seems very reluctant. I think that's when her and Jim were together, maybe having problems or something, but it's all the special effects. Stan Winston, who went on to win, I think, 8 Academy Awards, along with Aliens, and he did Jurassic Park, and he worked with Spielberg a lot. So anyway, working with Arnold, I worked with him maybe 2 nights. I saw him around a lot, and he was what you would expect. He was big, he was loud, a cigar, and he was like, grabbing women as they walked by and laughing, and very professional. Just exactly what you think Arnold Schwarzenegger would be. That's who he was. And he did a great job, I think, with that role. And of course, we didn't know at the time that I would be standing here 35 years later talking about it. But I didn't really work with him. And Cameron, I went on to make The Abyss with him. And Jim and I are like, I've always, Robert Rodriguez, helped me kind of inspired me to make a Grindhouse movie. And I give a lot of credit to Robert Rodriguez. And I say how much I like Robert Rodriguez. I always say that, but I say I would take a bullet for Jim Cameron.
Is there any more? Oh, this gentleman over there, and then we have one right behind you. That was Pat.
I just wanted to know if you have any current things that you're working on right now, and if you have any experiences that were more than embarrassing for you that you can share.
Do I have any experiences that were embarrassing that I can share? I think the most embarrassing thing. Well, listen, dude. I've got a lot of experiences that were very embarrassing. Most of them didn't happen on the set, okay? So I'm going to just confine this to working on movie sets, okay? And I think the most embarrassing thing for me was I did a movie called The Rock. And we did this scene, and the setup was Sean Connery, his group, Nick Cage, and 3 or 4 other people. I forget somebody. The SEALs come up in this van, in one of these trucks, and all the SEAls pile out from behind. It was this huge, major production shot with like helicopters flying by in the background and Jeeps driving through the shot, and like to set up a shot like that takes like 45 minutes or an hour just to set the shot up. And I had this big monologue that I was supposed to do as SEALs all come out and we face, and there's Sean Connery and there's Nicolas Cage, who had just won an Academy Award for leaving Vegas, whatever the Vegas show was.
Vegas.
What was it, George?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas, just won an Academy Award, and I came out and just fucking froze, and couldn't remember anything, and then Michael Bay would yell out the first line to me, and I'd say the first line, and I'd freeze again, and Michael Bay would yell out the second line to me, and I got through it. Basically, Michael Bay was just on the other side of the camera yelling the lines at me, and I was just repeating the lines, and we shot the scene. That was it. You cut it together, you look at it, you never know the difference. I look fucking great in it. And there's another scene I redeemed myself, I think, later on in the movie, where I get in a gunfight with a Marine. So that was really my most kind of embarrassing moment as an actor. My most embarrassing actor as a person, we're not even going to get into that.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Yes, sir.
Another Terminator question, of course. When finishing up Terminator, were there any traits or personality traits from Kyle Reese that are still with you till this day?
Well, playing a character does not change I've never carried, a character, it doesn't change you. I mean, I think the thing that is amazing about the Terminator and Aliens and Tombstone, I have 3 movies that I've done. I've done a lot of other good movies. The Rock's a great movie. I've worked with Billy Friedkin. And I've done some good movies. Those 3 movies, I have little girls like this one right here, little boys like this one right here. They're this big, and they'll come running up to me and like grab me by the leg and hold on to me, and their father will say, "You love chicks," And here we are like 35 years later, and to kind of be in these movies that have, like the Terminator, for instance, just to give you an idea, you think about the Terminator. Now when the Terminator comes out, everybody knows about the Terminator, Terminator. When our Terminator came out, it was a successful movie. It was made for $6.5 million, which is twice as much as George's first movie that was a very successful movie, My Bloody Valentine. And it was made for $6.5 million, and it made $40 million. So it was a very successful movie. But during that year, on the list of movies that made money, it came in like 24th. Okay, like Karate Kid 2 made $90 million. So most people did not see that movie in the movie theaters. Most people saw that VHSs, which none of you young people would know anything about, because it was before DVDs, and it just goes back to 8 tracks. I mean, I'm old, okay, But I think most people saw that on their VHSs, and I think most people fell in love with that movie on their VHSs. But the idea that when we were making that movie, that it would become what it has become, Terminator, Aliens, and Tombstone a lot, up here maybe not so much, but down in the West, in America, Arizona, New Mexico, California, they'll love that movie. I'm blessed. I'm just very, very blessed and very, very lucky to have run into Jim Cameron at the right time. Yes?
Do we have any more? That gentleman there and then this gentleman over here.
Hi. You mentioned before when working on The Rock, you were with Nicolas Cage. You were in another movie with him, Downfall. Do you have any interesting stories while working on that film?
You call that downfall? Deadfall. That movie, I was working on another movie in New York City, and I got a call, and Val Kilmer and his wife were supposed to be in that movie, and they pulled out at the last minute, and they were really smart. Both of them were really smart to get out of that movie. That movie was directed by Christopher Coppola, who was Nick Cage's brother, and I kind of have like I'm sorry, Christopher, but I have like a bottom 5, I mean, the worst thing that ever happened to me was IMDb, It's like the worst thing that could possibly happen to me, because I used to walk in offices and they said, "What have you done?" And I said, "Well, I did the Terminator, the Aliens, I did the Abyss, I did Tombstone." Now, it's all out there, man, and that one's one of them. It's a pretty silly movie, I had 5 boys, 3 of them I put through college, and sometimes you have to bite the bullet to get your kids through college and keep the braces on them and so on and so forth. It seems like the worse the movie is, the more they pay you. And that's the odd thing about this business. Because, like, if you want to go work for Jim Cameron or Steven Spielberg, I'll do it for nothing, man, because, it's going to be a good movie. But it's always the bad ones that they offer you a lot of money for. And you go, well, this will get him through next year's, yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I can help. I always thought I could help the director change it, make it better, and help write. And it's called Putting Lipstick on a Pig. And it never really worked out as well as I hoped that it would. But that's in my like bottom 5 as far as like most embarrassing performances.
Anybody else?
And thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be talking about that for a while later. We got one guy over here. We got that gentleman.
There you go. He's got the mic.
Hello. Hey, Michael, thanks for coming once again. And I just wanted to mention that you are one of the greatest actors I've ever seen because you are so good at both playing hero and villain. So, of course, Kyle Reese, Corporal Hicks, and then Coffee in Abyss, and Johnny Ringo, etc., etc. And you play great cops, and like Take Me Home Tonight, and all these great movies. My question is, most actors say, hey, I want to play the villain every time. What do you think? Are you on the same kind of boat that way? Do you prefer hero or villain?
Well, here's the deal. I love playing villains. Because I love justifying this terribly negative behavior. But heroes get paid a lot more. So you get a lot of guys like, I don't think like Tom Hanks, has he ever played like a bad guy? Well, he gets paid a lot more money than I do, you know. I started playing those bad guys, you know, and like, you know, I started going, like, you know. So I really like playing. You know, they got the Terminator, you know, and Hicks. Those are good guys. I love playing those characters. But Coffee was a great character, and I've got other bad guys that I've done that, you know, like Johnny Ringo. My favorite moment, I think, on film is when Val comes out of the shadows, challenges me to a gunfight, and I say, all right, Munger, let's do it. There's kind of a look in my eye there that I think is the best moment on film that I've ever done. So, you know, I guess it's kind of fun to play both. It just is just a cut and pay to play the bad guy. That's all.
You should see him do comedy. He is actually amazing. Next question. This lady over here.
Hi.
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 I think is, as I'm sure you know, is that our children and our parents are our harshest critics. So what does your family think about some of the roles you've done?
My family doesn't care at all. Nobody in my family. I have 5 boys. None of them care. Well, one of them kind of cares. You know, I think they're a little bit excited about the prospect now of me being in Aliens. But they've been on sets and stuff like that, and none of them have wanted to be actors or directors or writers or whatever. So I kind of thought it was really neat being in this business. But they're all doing pretty well in other things. So I guess when you're that close to it, you see it. George can tell you that I did a series for George, and we shot, you shoot 12-hour days, 12-hour nights. You know, my son said to me on the show that we did together, like, what's the deal with 12-hour workday? You know, where did that come from? You know, well, why do actors always, and the crews always have to work 12 hours? And the answer to that, I guess, is because that's when the sun is up, you know, during the day, and that's the 12 hours that you get to shoot. But the show that we did together, he worked harder than any director I've ever seen before, and he gave me a chance to do comedy, which is like, it's not comedy, it's not like, ha-ha, I'm funny. It's taking me and putting me in a ridiculous situation. I think we actually have like a clip from is there anybody here that can verify that there's a clip from Can we show that to the audience? This is.
We can, but we have some children in the audience.
Okay, all right. No. Yeah, okay. I have to watch my language a lot of times around children too, and I forget a lot of times.
Yeah, I'd love to show it. You guys, you've never seen anything. Michael playing deadpan comedy as this crazy alcoholic ex-cop who is just addicted to everything you can imagine. But playing it so straight and so funny, it is just, it's a hoot. But unfortunately, it is an after 11 o'clock show, and there's a lot of cool young guys over here who should be watching the Terminator instead, because we like him as a hero. So
Sometimes, like,
look it up sometime, 24-hour rental, and you'll love watching Michael laugh. Make you laugh.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Man over here, now what kind of suit is that?
It's a green suit.
It's a halo massive.
Oh, Halo, of course. I should know that. I've got 5 boys.
My question is there any roles that you were offered that you refused and you kind of regret?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, and the truth of the matter is, not really. I mean, I've been asked to audition for things that I didn't audition for, that maybe I thought, well, maybe I should have auditioned for that, you know. What was Oliver Stone's Vietnam movie, George?
I'm sorry, what
What was Oliver Stone's Vietnam movie?
Oh my God.
Fourth of July? Not 4th of July.
No. Platoon, yeah.
I didn't go in and audition for that because I thought I was, coming off Aliens. I thought I was too big. I thought they should have offered it to me. There was actually a movie that Richard Gere made. I can't even think of the name of it anymore. With, it doesn't happen very often because you can tell as an actor a good role and you can tell who the good directors are. And I can't really, there's not really anything that I can think of that I really blew it. Because, I did Deadfall. I did Deadfall. I did Deadfall, man. I'll do fucking anything. So.
Anybody else?
Oh boy, look at that.
Hey. Both of them at the same time? What's your name?
My name's Colin, and what was your favorite scene in The Terminator?
Well, when you get to be 18, your father could show you. It's something called the love scene.
All right, how about your sister? Did she have a question too?
Hi.
My name's Claire, and
Hi, Claire.
how would you get, the blood on your face in the scene?
In what?
How'd you get the blood on your face?
Well, they have people on on movie sets that are called makeup people, and it would just be like if you were at home right now, if you were going to play with your brother, and you went into your mom's lipstick and found some red, and you took that red and you put it on your face, or you put it on your arm, and that's kind of all it is, really. It's just it's just makeup, usually. There's all different kinds of blood that they do, but it's just makeup. It's pretty easy. Go home, get into your mother's stuff, grab her a red lipstick, put it all over your brother's arm, and then have his brother run in and go, Mom, 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 and watch your reaction.
You know, what we did with Michael when we were shooting is we had the makeup lady put a bunch of red makeup paint on her fingers, and she went like this. The camera was over here,
There's never any blood on a movie set.
Yeah.
All of it's fake. All the violence is fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. You know? Unless you're working with Christian Bale.
Which is it's gotta be real. Anybody else?
Who's a great actor,
We
by
got
the way.
questions.
Yes.
The gentleman in the white.
Hi.
Oh, you got him all right? Okay.
Sorry, I'm like right now.
We'll get the gentleman in the white after.
Okay. I was just wondering how come your scene was cut from Terminator 2?
Well, you know what? The movies always get cut. There was a great scene, and there was a scene that I did that you can see online, cut film from Terminator. They also cut out Sigourney's scene, big scene that she has in Aliens, and scenes just get cut out of movies. The reason that scene got cut out, I mean, Jim shot it because he wanted to put it in a movie, but the movie has to be a certain length, and if it's too long, the movie theaters can only play it twice per night instead of 3 times per night. So it has to be a certain size, and there were other scenes that he thought were more important to the movie, plus, as he explained to me, because he called to tell me about it, you know, there were other flashback scenes in the movie. The tough thing about that are 2 things. One was that when they were showing previews for the movie, it was still in the movie, you know? And so people say, oh, I see that, like, I saw the preview of the movie, and I'm like, nah, I'm not in it, you know, so I'm not in it. So, but the really bad news was I got paid a lot just to do that 1 day's worth of work, which was the day that the first George Bush invaded Iraq for the first time. That was the day we shot that film, probably along with your help, because you guys always tag along with us, idiots. But I won't
Not
get
the second time.
political here.
Not the second time.
Not the second time. So good for you. Not the second time. Good for you. What was I talking about? Caught up with my politics. Oh yeah. The other bad thing was I got paid a lot, and I would have gotten a lot of what we call residuals, which is like money afterwards when they show it. These checks show up at your doorstep. You know, it's like, oh, $1,000 because it played in Taiwan. Whoa, you know, it's played, you know, and I didn't get any residuals for it. So that's why it wasn't in. But if you watch, of course, if you watch the director's cut, which is another way for them to make more money off their movie, corporate America, I'm in that. So, you know, you get to see what I did. It's kind of like a rehash of the old stuff anyway. It's the same scene played kind of the same way. But that's what happened on that. Back here?
No, it's over here.
Over here.
What was your reaction when they asked you to do the voice acting for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon?
Well, Jen, what's Neil's last name? No. Dean Evans. Dean, I mean, I just call him Neil. Dean Evans. Dean Evans is a guy who created that video game. And Dean came to me, and he is such a brilliant guy. Were you there? You remember that? Yeah, well, he wanted me to do the voice to his video game, and I sat with him and his boss at Ubisoft, and Dean was trying to sell me on this movie, on this what they call a standalone game, right? And he was trying to sell me on it, and he was going, it's going to be big, it's going to be big, it's going to be so great, it's going to be throw back to the 80s, and make fun of the 80s, and I had to have your voice, and like, he's totally ADHD like guy, you know, he's just like, you know, and his boss was sitting there like this, like, you know, this is going to be a waste of like whatever money we're spending on this. Yeah. Well, it turned out to be like the best video game, standalone game of the year voted by fans. So, what's that? it's doubled the sales. And so I'm very, very proud to be in it. I've heard they're going to make another one now, because what happens when you make something successful in the United States? You make another one of them, and then you make another one. And first thing you know, we got Fast and the Furious Part 10. We're almost there. Don't laugh.
We are at 7, are we not?
Yeah, they're waiting on Vin Diesel. I think he's got a little problem. Probably has something to do with it. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, 8's on its way. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hey there.
Hey there.
I was just wondering if you enjoyed seeing your own death scenes in movies.
Could you just...
I was just wondering if you enjoy seeing your own death scenes in movies. You know?
Yeah, well, if I do them good, I like seeing them. I mean, my favorite death scene in the movie is Johnny Ringo's death scene. That scene itself is a great scene. I love playing that. Val and I got together, rehearsed that scene, and while they were shooting something else, we got together and decided that wasn't going to be a conventional gunfight. We were going to play it close up and do that roundy thing. And I'd be pulling off shots even though I had a bullet in my head. So I rehearsed that, and that's one of my favorite death scenes. And the scene in the abyss is another one of my favorite death scenes. So, you know, I'm probably down like 30 death scenes. So it's kind of hard to go back and look at, like, I just got to think of all the bad guys that I played in the death scenes. But those are my two favorite death scenes. And, you know, they're, you want them to be good. You know, you're an actor, you want them to be as good as the rest of the movie. You want your death to be, what you usually do is if you're playing the antagonist in the movie, you really want to see your bad guy get it, suffer, you know? And I try to give it to him when I can.
I'm going to ask a question from Michael, because I don't know if you guys know, but Michael's been making movies, actually directing movies lately. So he's now feeling what I have to go through every day. So I'm just going to ask Michael one question about how he likes to direct people.
Okay.
Tell us about the movies you made, too.
Okay.
And where we can get them.
I was doing a movie with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, and it was called Grindhouse. Which basically, a Grindhouse movie is the same thing as it's like a low-budget movie. Roger Corman, a lot of the great directors started with Roger Corman, like Jim Cameron started with Roger Corman, and they were very, very low-budget movies. So, the very first movie that I got to direct was called The Victim, and
available.
What happens is, yeah, it was bought by Anchor Bay. We ended up making something pretty decent out of it. But what happens is when you get to be an actor like me, you get a lot of people that come to you and say, here's the script, I'm offering you a certain amount of money for this script, will you do it? And if you like it, if it's enough money, you say yes. And at that point, he runs around and says, I've got Michael Biehn in this movie, will you be in this movie too? Or can you get financing from someone? So usually like 99 times out of 100, the guy doesn't have the money anyway, you know? So I always say yes, you know? So this time, this guy came to me and he said, would you make a movie, write and direct a movie for me? I've got this amount of money, and would you do it? And I said, yeah, sure, you know? And next thing I know, I get a check from him, and I think, oh, wow, wonder if this, take it out of the bank, it clears, all right? That was a pretty good chunk of change. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta make a movie now. So I started writing, and there was a script that had given to me like 6 months previously. It was kind of a bad remake of Saul, you know? It was kind of it was not a bad, it was just not even a script. It was kind of like a novella. It was a very odd thing, and I read and kind of just went like, well, you know, this is never going to get made. But I remembered it, so I took that premise and some of the characters out of that, and I rewrote that into a script.
notes on it. How many cars do I need? How many people? What kind of clothes? What kind of hair? What kind of makeup? What kind of lighting? What kind of a house they're living in? What kind of a cup that they use? Imagine everything you see in a movie at one point or another goes through a director and he has to answer, such as, what's the size of the microphone and what color is the top of it? So that's called preparation or pre-prep.
Preparation. I had none. I did my preparation with no script. It was just me walking, saying, "Follow me," and we'd pick up an actor here, we'd pick up a cameraman there, and we, pick up another actress here, and I was going to make the most sensationalized movie I could possibly make on the lowest budget I could possibly do it. So I'll give you an example. The Terminator was considered a low-budget movie at that time, and it cost $6.5 million. My Bloody Valentine cost how much?
2.8, 15 years before.
Right.
Terminator.
$6.5 million, $2.8 million. I made this movie for $100,000, all in, okay? So I wrote it while I was doing the pre-production, which is not the way you're supposed to do it at all. And then I shot it in 12 days with one camera, meaning when you do a setup, that means you got to take the camera, put a lens on it, and you do, usually in television, you do a one shot, and then you do a two shot, and then you do a couple singles, and come in tighter on another. All of those are setups. We were doing 60 to 65 setups a day on that movie. And we only worked 12-hour days. I shot it day for night. Explain to them what day for night is, George.
Day for night used to be a trick people would use in the old days when things were shot on film, not on video, and film wasn't sensitive enough to be able to shoot night, even when you used a lot of lights, especially when you needed big vistas. They started doing day for night mostly in westerns, when you see a bunch of horses running down and you got to see the mountains on the desert. So what they used to do was they'd shoot it during the day. And then what they would do is they would add extra light to it. More light by using big, giant lights to give it even a harder look on the edges of the faces and the horses and so on. And then they would just expose it all the way down so that everything else was dark and blue, but these highlights would remain, and it would look like, and that's why all of a sudden, for some reason or another, that's how night became blue, even though the moon is yellow. So that's day for night.
That's shooting day for night now. It's a lot easier to do. Say the word. I can never say this.
Day for night.
What?
Day for night.
Digital. Digitally. It's a lot easier to do it that way than it is with film. But anyway, the whole film, if anybody's ever seen it, takes place at night. Okay? And that's a movie that I want to have a lot of fun with. The movie starts off with this scary music and this camera coming through the woods, and you think something's really scary is going to happen. And the thing comes up and says, "This story is not based on true events," And so I thought that would give the audience the idea that you're not really in for something real serious here. And I have nods, quotes Quentin Tarantino, to some of my favorite actors. My character's name in it is Kyle, kind of after Kyle Reese, and it's kind of a fun little movie. We did a really good job with it. Jennifer, my wife down here, co-stars in it, and she really produced it. And we made enough money that we went on to make more movies. And now we have 6 or 8
And they're all great movies, and you can get them all at Anchor Bay, down the street over there. Anchor Bay's got the coolest horror movies and the coolest genre movies.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, you guys see Anchor Bay all the time when you watch movies.
Yeah.
Big company.
All right, guys, one last question for Michael, and then we're going to bid you a good night. Thank you for so many of you coming out. But we're getting a little tired.
What?
We'll be at the booth. If you want to see Michael, he'll be at the booth over there. If you want to talk to me, I'm at the Bloody Valentine booth over there. So thank you for reminding us of that. So one last question, sir.
First off, thank you very much for every major hero I had in my childhood.
You're welcome.
And my question was, it goes back to video games again. When Gearbox approached you to bring Hicks back in Colonial Marines, was there any trepidation about it, or did you just kind of jump at, unwriting your death?
Well, the thing about it is, I was, obviously disappointed about the film thing, and I thought the genre was dead, and so, it was basically a payday for me, and the people that made the movie, the people that made the video games always seemed to be a little, not quite straight arrow. Everything always seemed to be kind of messy and, with contracts and getting paid and so on and so forth. And, from what I understand, it's not a very good video game. Nobody really liked it very much. Yeah, this video game guy's going like this, it's most people that I talk to really were disappointed with the video game. For me, doing the voice of Hicks, you pay me enough, I did Deadfall just to put through college. I did Deadfall. I'll go back to Deadfall, man,